The boys were back this week, and the missing mascot that I have been dying to see since season 1 finally returned for more than a flashback. Not sure why I'm so bonkers for this Bulldog? Well, grab yourself some of Judy's taffy, hit that subscribe button and bell, and get comfy. I'm Kris Carr, and I'm going to tell you all about terror from the boys. Before we dive in, I want to give a shout out to our super nerd sponsor of the day, Kevin Brown. Kevin, you're the real hero. If you want to pitch in, head on over to our Patreon page and see if a donation tier works for you. We'll thank you with swag, behind-the-scenes looks, and sweet little handwritten cards. Spoiler warning, as always, y'all, I'm going to be touching on some of the things that happened in the latest episode of Amazon's The Boys, as well as diving into what goes down in the comics. While the show doesn't always follow the comics to a T, I could be spouting off some stuff that could come to fruition down the line. If you don't want to hear any of that, or you aren't caught up on the show, you might want to wait on this video. All right, let's get to terror. First of all, why this breed? Well, it makes sense our Cockney killer would have a bully. These dogs were originally bred in England and became a national symbol of pride. The BBC has called Bulldogs, quote, a national icon, symbolizing pluck and determination. In fact, Bulldog tattoos are incredibly popular amongst Englishmen and Anglophiles alike. The Bulldog is often also associated with the U.S. Marine Corps. During World War I, Germans would refer to these U.S. soldiers as devil dogs. So the Marines implemented Bulldogs into their recruiting ads. Again, a very popular tattoo. I like this Marines connection. Even though the imagery goes with U.S. troops, I think we could stretch it and consider lining this up with the tenacity of members of the Royal Marines. In the boys' comics, Billy is inspired by his grandfather and joins the Royal Marines in the early 80s. In episode 5, Billy Butcher visits his Aunt Judy, who's been watching his Bulldog terror while he's been on his violent rampage working to avenge the wife he thought was murdered. Defeated by Becca's refusal to leave the Vought compound with him, Billy checks in with his family and his bestest boy. Like his reunion with Becca, seeing Billy interact with terror shows us a kinder, gentler side to the Butcher. In the comics, this dog never leaves his side. When it comes to filming, though, you've got 2 hard and fast rules. Don't work with kids, and don't work with animals. Showrunner Kripke point-blank said it'd just be, quote, too fucking hard in an AMA. He's previously said to EW that the show is already so challenging that he was just too intimidated by the idea of having an animal who doesn't listen to directors and doesn't care about your stunt or pyrotechnic and your CG or your green screen. Just doesn't give a shit about any of it. I mean, yeah, that's dogs for you. My dog Trico shits under my piano bunch every day while making full eye contact. So rude. Anyway, Kripke decided to skip having the English Bulldog in every scene, opting instead for him to make this special appearance. Good call. Jack Quaid, aka Huey, spilled the beans that this dog could not frick on camera, despite being a trained humper. Said Quaid, quote, it was just me and this dog in a room, and I'm trying to tell him on cue to hump the pig. And his trigger phrase was the word boner. So, on camera, you have me screaming, hey, boner, boner! I tried different tactics. I was stern. I was friendly. Hey man, performance anxiety. It happens. Let's talk about the comic version of Billy's pet. Unlike the docile, albeit humpy boy we see on screen, Terror is a vicious bulldog on the page. All members of the boys get along swimmingly with Terror, even Frenchie, who is much more standoffish in the comics. Many fans believe that Terror was also given Compound V. I mean, pretty much everyone else was in the comics, so why not shoot up the dog? Weirder things happen. This theory has legs though. 4 of them. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. That was awful. Okay, but really, there's some proof to Terror having super chompers. Billy confronts the Crimson Countess, a parody of Marvel's Scarlet Witch. Terror's able to take a huge chunk out of her arm, which has led many fans to think if he can cause such damage to a soup, he must have some of the V coursing through his pupper veins. I'm not sure if I'm in total agreement with this theory. After all, Butcher goes on to snap her neck, and he isn't superpowered. He definitely utilizes a lot of leverage to achieve this, but I'm just not convinced that the bite was a super bite. Bulldogs have really muscular jaws and have jaw strength of 305 psi, or pounds per square inch. This measures the pressure they can apply over 1 square inch of a pound. For comparison, it just takes 100 psi to puncture human skin. So your non-GMO run-of-the-mill bully would definitely jack up an arm. But hey, let me know where you stand on this theory. Now, like most pet owners, Butcher is incredibly protective of Terror, often telling the dog to run from danger at hand, and he cannot stand to have anyone mistreat his boy. We see this with how he handles the Crimson Countess, and how he even threatens Homelander. In a fantastic panel, which I really hope we'll one day get to see in the Amazon series, Terror takes a leak right on the blonde soup's booties. When Homelander starts in with the laser eyes, Billy threatens the hero, saying he'll come after him if he hurts a hair on Terror's head. All over a dog? Yeah, his dog. And Butcher means it. He will hurt anyone who hurts Terror. And sadly, someone does in issue number 59 of the series. It's heavily implied that after a sex tape of his is leaked by Butcher and his crew, and he's consequently kicked out of the Seven, Jack from Jupiter murders Billy's dog in retaliation. Jack from Jupiter is the boys' equivalent to Martian Manhunter from DC. Jack has the power of flight, heat vision, and can become invulnerable by saying the word Carpo. This character was scrapped for the series and replaced with Translucent, but it's rumored we'll be seeing the character pop up in a porno, so keep your peepers out for that. Well, if Butcher is ready to go toe-to-toe with Homelander, the Superman of this world, then you best believe he's more than ready to carve up one of his lackeys. Butcher pins Jack to the wall while gutting him, asking why Jack killed his dog. This has been called one of the most gruesome and gratuitous deaths in comics. It's downright diabolical. But honestly, in a comic that's filled with dastardly faux do-gooders, I think the puppy murderer definitely is the one that deserves to be stabbed in the tummy. Hopefully our live-action Terror won't meet such a grisly fate. Perhaps what Terror is best known for is his insatiable lust. You know, some folks train their dogs to dance, my dog Gimli can pretend to get shot, but Butcher gave Terror a strong verb to run with. Terror, fuck it. In the comics, Terror will F anything around when Butcher voices this command. When Billy handed his guy that Homelander plushie and said those words, I legit screamed at my television. And then had to explain why I was so excited about a dog humping. It was weird. Oh, the squeaking noises off camera slayed me, you guys. What a fantastic choice. I am so happy they threw that in for all of us comic fans. I feel like placing Terror in this episode was 100% the right choice. We're learning more and more that Billy needs a handler. He needs someone to keep him from, well, being Billy. From having these bouts of rage. He's had these self-destructive tendencies far before he met Becca. Prior to her involvement, it was his brother Lenny who had the power to calm and soothe him. He even once swayed Billy from killing their abusive alcoholic father. This is also why he needs Huey. He needs these sorts of people to know where the line is. He's a dog that needs to be leashed. Terror is a dog that has intense urges, to say the least, but he's been trained to not act on them without someone giving him the go-ahead. Will Billy look to his canary to see when he's gone too far? Or will he become completely unmuzzled and rabid? Before the episode ends, Billy promises Terror that he's going to get Becca back for him, and that they'll be a family once more. Fingers crossed Billy is a man of his word, and this cutie with an underbite comes back soon. And as much as I don't want a television show to kill a dog, it's the boys, terrible things are gonna happen. And if anybody's gonna put this fella down, my money is on Stormfront or Homelander. Those two would probably work it into their foreplay. Ugh. Of course, this is just my take on Terror. Question is, what do y'all think of this promiscuous pooch? Are you gonna train your dog to hump dolls that look like your enemies? You definitely should. Hit me with your hot takes in the comments below. Thanks again to our donors on Patreon, and thank you for watching. Until next week, I'll see you, Space Cowboy.